The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church is one of the world's oldest Christian traditions, with a history stretching back many centuries. Across Ethiopia, numerous churches, monasteries, sacred landscapes, and pilgrimage sites preserve the country's Christian heritage. These places are not simply historical monuments. For millions of believers, they remain living centers of prayer, worship, fasting, pilgrimage, and spiritual life. 1. Aksum and the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion Axum in northern Ethiopia is one of the most important spiritual and historical centers of Ethiopian Orthodox Christianity. During the ancient kingdom of Aksum, Christianity was officially adopted in the 4th century during the reign of King Ezana, following the influence of Saint Frumentius, known in Ethiopian tradition as Abba Salama. At the heart of Aksum stands the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion, commonly known as Mariam Tzion. It is among the most revered churches in Ethiopia. Ethiopian Orthodox tradition holds that the Ark of the Covenant is preserved at Aksum and guarded by a specially appointed monk. Whether approached from the perspective of faith, history, or archaeology, Aksum remains inseparable from the story of Ethiopian Christianity. The ancient obelisks, royal remains, inscriptions, and churches surrounding Aksum also demonstrate the importance of the city as the center of a powerful ancient African civilization. 2. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela is perhaps Ethiopia's most internationally famous Christian pilgrimage destination. The extraordinary rock-hewn churches were created during the medieval Zagwe period and are traditionally associated with King Lalibela. Instead of constructing these churches by placing stones on top of one another, craftsmen carved many of them directly downward and inward from solid volcanic rock. 11 major churches are traditionally grouped within the complex. Among the most recognizable is Bete Georgis, or the Church of St. George, famous for its cross-shaped design when viewed from above. Other churches include Bete Medhane Alem, Bete Mariam, Bete Golgotha Mikael, and Bete Emmanuel. Lalibela is sometimes described as a New Jerusalem. The churches are connected through passages, trenches, courtyards, and tunnels, carrying deep religious symbolism. Even today, priests, monks, deacons, pilgrims, and local worshippers continue to use these ancient churches. 3. Debre Damo Monastery. Debre Damo is one of Ethiopia's most remarkable ancient monasteries. Located on a dramatic flat-topped mountain in Tigray, the monastery is traditionally associated with Abuna Aragawi, one of the 9 saints who played an important role in strengthening Christian monasticism in Ethiopia. Reaching the monastery itself is extraordinary. Because of the steep cliffs surrounding the mountain, access traditionally involves climbing with the assistance of a leather rope. Debre Damo has been an important center of monasticism, religious education, manuscript preservation, prayer, and spiritual discipline for centuries. Its ancient church architecture also provides valuable evidence about early Ethiopian Christian building traditions. 4. Debre Libanos Monastery. Debre Libanos, located northwest of Addis Ababa, is one of Ethiopia's best-known monasteries. It is closely associated with Saint Tekle Haymanot, one of the most celebrated saints of the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church. According to Ethiopian tradition, Saint Tekle Haymanot devoted his life to intense prayer, fasting, evangelization, and monastic discipline. Debre Libanos subsequently became a major center of Orthodox spirituality and religious learning. The monastery also carries painful historical memories. During the Italian occupation of Ethiopia, hundreds of monks, clergy members, pilgrims, and others associated with Debre Libanos were massacred in 1937. Consequently, the site represents not only religious devotion, but also suffering, sacrifice, and remembrance. 5. The island monasteries of Lake Tana. Lake Tana, Ethiopia's largest lake and the source region of the Blue Nile, contains numerous ancient monasteries and churches on its islands and peninsulas. Important religious sites around the lake include Ura Kidain Mehret, Kibron Gabriel, Daga Estefanos, and other historic monasteries. Some preserve old manuscripts, crosses, crowns, religious paintings, and other treasures connected with Ethiopia's Christian history. For centuries, remote islands provided relatively protected environments where monks could dedicate themselves to prayer and preserve religious knowledge and sacred objects during periods of political instability. The beautiful traditional paintings found in many Lake Tana churches portray biblical stories, saints, angels, the Virgin Mary, Christ, and important events in Ethiopian Christian tradition. 6. The monasteries and churches of Lake Hake in the Amhara region is another significant area in Ethiopian Orthodox history. The famous monastery of Hake Estefanos became an important medieval center of Christian scholarship and monastic education. Monasteries such as Hake helped educate generations of clergy and scholars. Ethiopian monasteries were historically much more than places where monks lived. They served as centers of literacy, manuscript production, theological education, music, poetry, biblical interpretation, and preservation of historical traditions. 7. Gishen Debre Kirbe. Gishen Debre Kirbe is an important Ethiopian Orthodox pilgrimage site in the Amhara region. According to Ethiopian Orthodox tradition, a portion of the true cross on which Jesus Christ was crucified is preserved there. The mountain has a distinctive shape and is considered sacred. Every year, especially during the celebration connected with Meskel, large numbers of pilgrims travel to Gishen to pray and participate in religious services. The site demonstrates the importance of pilgrimage within Ethiopian Orthodox spiritual life. 8. The churches of Tigray contains an extraordinary concentration of ancient rock-hewn and cave churches. Some are situated high in mountains and cliffs, requiring difficult climbs to reach them. Abuna Yamata Gu is one of the most spectacular examples. The church is carved into a cliff high above the surrounding landscape and contains historic Christian paintings. Other important church groups are found around Geralta and elsewhere in Tigray. Their remote locations reflect the strong Ethiopian monastic tradition of seeking quiet places for prayer, contemplation, fasting, and separation from worldly distractions. A living heritage. What makes Ethiopian Orthodox historical places particularly remarkable is that many are not abandoned ruins. They remain active religious communities. Ancient churches still fill with prayer. Priests continue traditional liturgical practices. Deacons learn sacred chants. Monks maintain lives of prayer and fasting, while pilgrims travel long distances to celebrate annual feasts. The Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo tradition has also preserved the ancient liturgical language Ge'ez, distinctive church music traditionally associated with Saint Yared, illuminated manuscripts, processional crosses, sacred paintings, and centuries-old religious ceremonies. From Axum and Lalibela to Debre Damo, Debre Libanos, Lake Tana, Gishen, Hake, and the mountain churches of Tigray, Ethiopia possesses an extraordinary Christian heritage. These sacred places tell a story of faith that survived political change, invasion, hardship, and the passage of centuries. They are therefore more than tourist attractions. They are places where history and living faith meet. Preserving them means protecting an important part not only of Ethiopian history, but also of African and global Christian heritage.
And one more thing. Don't forget to leave your constructive comments in the comment section below. Your feedback is very important to me and helps me improve my future videos. Thank you very much for watching and for your continued support.